My favorite report to run is what we call the restaurant summary report. Yes, this is a clickable link. It's not a heading. It's called the restaurant summary report. Now, unfortunately, I'm logged in as a super admin, which is for us and the developers. This monthly report summary is not ready yet. When it's ready, this will show up in your account. We're still developing it. So I'm not going to spend too much time talking about that other than to tease you with it. This will be like an owner summary report. You click on that, you hit the run button, and then it'll get emailed to you like a 10-page PDF of your P&L, your COGS, your labor costs, your budget, comparisons, all kinds of fun stuff. So this would be like the owner's report. And then we'll also have a manager's report, which will be the same thing, but it'll exclude some stuff. So that'll be exciting. All these other reports are basically built off of the restaurant summary report. So in my opinion, it's easier to run a restaurant summary report and then drill down, but you can use this however you prefer. If you want to look at your cost of goods sold and only your cost of goods sold, go ahead and click on either the summary or the detailed report. I'll be showing those to you in a second here. The last thing I want to say before we look at a report is what we call the restaurant summary report, as a P&L, a profit and loss. The reason I don't like to call it a profit and loss is because clickBACON is not your accounting system. clickBACON works very closely with your accounting system. clickBACON mimics your accounting system. It's very easy to believe that this is your accounting system. And for some of you, it very well may be. But for government, official, correct tax purposes, this is not your accounting system. So I didn't want to use the word profit and loss statement. I don't want you running this report and sending it to your accountant at the end of the year. While it may be just as identical and accurate as your QuickBooks Online profit and loss is, I really want you doing your tax end of year filings from your accounting software. So we call it the restaurant summary report. You can see it loads very fast. We're all very proud of how fast the application is. That was one thing we got complaints about with the old application. So working top down, we start with a date picker. These are your standard dates. So things like last month, last year, this month, this year, this quarter, last quarter, all of the sort of basics, including rolling, which is one of my favorites. If you were here last week, or if you watched last week, if you're not familiar with rolling, I talk about that a lot last week, but it's basically your last 4 completed weeks. You can call this your trend if you want. So most of the date picking that you'll need, you can do through here. If not, we have a custom date picker. So you could build any custom date section that you want. This box confuses people, so I'll take a second and explain it. This will display your information in different ways. So because we're running a report for this month, if you want the total, which is what it's set to now, then you would leave it at defaulted to total. Monthly would be the same as total because we're running a 1-month report. But let's say that we ran a last quarter report. Total would be the total for the quarter, or you can look at last quarter monthly. So now it'll break down. It'll show you April, May, June. Now, you could look at it weekly if you want. The report just starts getting bigger. Look how fast that is. We do not allow you to do daily in anything more than a month because that would be 90 days of a report. It would be a monster. So if you want to do daily, please limit your date range. But most of the time, we're going to be looking at total. So I'll go back to that, and I'm going to do last month. And every time you make a change, we have to hit load report, just because we don't know when you're done yet. Show all accounts is turned off right now. What we're doing is we're only showing you accounts that have data in this period of time. So sometimes people will email us and say, hey, I'm running a report and it doesn't show this account. If you want to show all accounts, regardless of whether they have data or not, then toggle on show all accounts. You could think of this as hide $0 accounts. But again, we default you to hiding $0 accounts. The last thing is compare mode, but I think we're going to come back to that in a second. Before that, I want to show you collapse and expand. So if you just want to see your section headers, you can collapse your report. Then you can click on anything you want to get more detail. So if you'll notice, like here, they have food totals, but then you can also click and get store food and catering food. You can expand everything, and then you can also shrink different sections. So a minus means shrink it, a plus means you can expand it. We can also, I said earlier, you can get to every report you want from this report. So if you want to look at a COGS report, you could just click on COGS and there's your COGS data. If you want to go even deeper, if you only want to look at food, you could click on food and here's all of your food data. Now, here's the best part about this. If you're using all of our integrations, so if you're using the clickBACON AI, where we go to your POS, we pull the information in, we push it to QuickBooks, we take your data or your invoices in our document manager, we extract that data, we push it to QuickBooks, we pull it all back. What's great is we'll have pictures and evidence of all this stuff. So let's say that your food cost was a little higher than you thought it should be, and you're trying to figure that out. Well, you can go in here, I'm just going to make it up. You could say, oh man, there's no way we spent $2,800 with that vendor. You could click on that and it will show you all of the stuff that happened with that vendor. Now, I may have picked one that didn't have a document attached to it, but if it did, I have one in my notes. If we have time, I'll go back. I tested this earlier, but I'm not seeing it in my notes, but we'll come back to that. Let's go back to reports here really quick. Oh, that's what I also wanted to show you is as you start drilling down into these reports, that opened up a new window, sorry. You could use the breadcrumb trail. We try to create a breadcrumb trail with almost anything you do in the application. So you could almost always get back to where you want to be without having to hit back arrows and such. So basically, again, this is your profit and loss report. So this is going to show you all the way down to the bottom what your sales, so let's collapse it a little bit. That'll make it easier to look, right? What your total sales were, total COGS, total discounts, total labor, total direct operating expenses, non-controllables, and total profit and loss. So what does all this mean? Let's look at it quickly. Sales. It's pretty simple, self-explanatory what sales is, right? The one thing people have questions on is this percentage. In this section here, we are showing you your percentage of sales. So if you notice, it equals 100%. Your sales are always going to equal 100%. So this is saying that 87% of your food came from in-store. In this example, you can customize these accounts. 9.8% came from catering. 2.25% came from non-alcoholic beverage. When we get to COGS, this is a breakdown of your cost of goods sold. So in this case, this is not correct. We're in this month. Let's go to last month. Let's get some more accurate data. This month is a little wonky. But this is showing a food cost of 25.26%. and a non-alcoholic beverage cost of 29.16%. So just looking at this demo account, a couple of things. I want to see non-alcoholic beverage sales much higher than 2%. Food cost is phenomenal, but non-alcoholic beverage sales is not good. This should be closer to 15, 18%. Just quickly looking at this. Moving on, discounts. Again, you can set things up how you want. This is how we set up most of our clients, customer discounts, employee discounts, and manager comps. They're running a 0.79%. This sample restaurant, that's fantastic. Labor, we like to break down labor, front of the house, back of the house, and management. This account that we're using as a demo does things a little bit differently. They do a front of the house, back of the house management category, and then a full-on management category. And then we have indirect labor. So indirect labor is all of those tax accounts. We just merge them all together into one. For reporting reasons, you don't need to see your FUTA and your SUTA and all that. We can just call it all one. So again, this is showing you, in this case, front of the house is running 13.2%. This back of the house is running 9.79. There's something weird in our demo data here. Not sure what's happening. But it's giving us a total labor cost of 26%, including indirect. That's a fantastic labor cost. Prime cost and gross profit. If you're not familiar with prime cost, it's everything above here. Sales minus COGS, discounts, and labor. Our goal is to keep prime cost under 60%. The opposite of prime cost is gross profit. So in this case, because prime cost is 52%, gross profit is 48%. This is the most controllable number in your restaurant. You need to keep this number under 60%. Direct operating expenses is a number that most people don't look at, mostly because most people don't have it categorized properly. QuickBooks has no concept of, by the way, QuickBooks has no concept of labor cost and no concept of direct operating expenses. Most people in QuickBooks put their labor costs in their COGS, which works, but it's very difficult to get COGS and labor separate, which is why coming into here to get that data is very helpful. Direct operating expenses doesn't exist in QuickBooks. The reason I like direct operating expenses is it's within the four walls of your restaurant. It's controllable by management. It's not a COGS, but it's controllable by management. So when I'm judging a manager, when I'm bonusing a manager, we like to use something called controllable cost or controllable expenses or controllable profit. We call it restaurant controllable expenses, restaurant controllable profit. Some of you may know this as IFO, income from operations, and then expenses from operations. Different words for the same thing, but again, they run inverse of each other. My goal is to keep restaurant controllable costs below about 66%. Now, with this sample data, I'd want to look at a little bit more because they have a great prime cost of 52. I'm expecting to see a restaurant controllable costs or restaurant controllable expenses somewhere in the 60% range based on their prime. So I would look a little further into this to see what's going on. And then the last section is just all the other stuff, the non-controllable expenses. You may just know these as expenses. I like to categorize these as things that are not controllable. And when I mean not controllable, I mean within the four walls of the restaurant. You as an owner may want to drive a Range Rover. You may want to go on vacation in Italy. You may want to charge all of that to your restaurant. Good for you. That's the perks of owning a business. If you own an Italian restaurant, go to Italy once a year and write it off. Good on you. But that's not your manager's problem. So don't punish your manager. Don't not bonus your manager because you spent $30,000 on a trip to Italy this year. We could also hide this from your managers so they don't see this section of it because it doesn't really matter to them. This is the stuff that they can't control. They can't control third-party delivery fees. They can't control rent. They can't control insurance. They can't control QuickBooks. They can't control that stuff. So this is how we like to set up a P&L. And again, in the old days, to do this, you would run a QuickBooks file, you would export it into a spreadsheet, and then you would have to reorganize it. Now with ClickBACON, you run your QuickBooks file how you want, and then we can map all this stuff to different areas so you and your team members get a very clear, concise understanding, taking us all the way down to profit. Again, this is sample data, so let's not read into it too much. But that explains basically the restaurant summary report and all the other reports that you can drill down to in here. The last thing that I want to do is I said I was going to show you compare mode. So compare mode, when you toggle this on, allows you to do one of three things. You can compare to previous year, previous period, or budget. So in this case, let's do last month compared to previous year. if we check percentage change and dollar change, then you will see this is our data for August of 25 compared to August of 24, and that'll show you the dollar change and the percentage change. So you'll be able to see, is our food cost up? Is our food cost down? Is our labor cost up? Is our labor cost down? Are we beating last year's sales or not, right? So very simply, again, sample data, not always correct as we're building out the account here. But basically, this is showing, oh, no, this is correct. Sorry, I was looking at sales to COGS. This looks great. This year, this restaurant is doing 244,000 in sales for August. And in the previous year, they did 192. That's fantastic. They're up 27%. That's huge. That's great. Right? So we can look and see things like prime cost. They did a great job controlling, well, they did do a great job controlling their prime cost. It's up dollar-wise, it's up, but it's actually down as a percentage. So if we look at it, right, they ran a 52 to a 61. This number should be negative. I don't know why it's not. We'll have to look into that. Or maybe it's just because I'm doing a demo and I'm not understanding the data correctly. But there you go. So that's comparing to previous year. If we control the previous period, it's going to do August compared to July. Now, if we did last year, like if we did this year to date, like let's change this just for fun. Let's do this year to date. And we did compared to previous period, it's going to show us the 1st of January to today, 25, the 1st of January to today, 24. So really powerful. The last thing is compared to budget, and that's where I think our software separates from any other tool out there, is how easy to build a budget we make it and how easy it is to see how you are doing compared to your budget. So again, the model stays the same, but now we're comparing to budget. So you could see, are they over or under budget? So in this case, they're beating out their budget. Their sales budget or their actual sales are 2,119. Their budget is 2,024. So they're beating their budget by 95,000 by about 5%. That's fantastic. This restaurant is having an incredible year. So that's great. So that's compare mode. Let me check my notes to see, what I didn't cover is favoriting reports. I totally skipped over that section. So if there's a report that you love, like let's say this report, if you absolutely love this comparison report, you could save this report. Let's enter a name. Let's call it YTD budget comparison. And then once you save this report, if you go back to your reporting homepage and go to My Reports, you will see, I spelled summary wrong. Oh no, where is it? YTD budget comparison. There it is. You'll see the budget comparison report that we just created. And now you have two choices. You could leave it here in saved reports if you don't use it too often. And then when you click on it, it loads automatically. Or you could favorite it. And if you favorite it, it will now show up on your dashboard. And then you can change the order. But it will show up. Oh, we're limited to how many we can show here. So I'd have to, or wait, is this how we do it? Yeah. So there it is. So there it is. Year to date. Sorry, we must have added that recently. I didn't even know it. Year to date budget comparison. You can update that. And there it is on your favorites. So if there's a couple of reports that you use often, you could just put it on here and go ahead and click on that really quickly. And it'll take you right here. Everything loaded up exactly how you want.